What's the one thing you would never buy secondhand? Story 1. A couch. I used to work at a pest control company, and the number one thing that brought them in was used furniture, but usually a couch. Those fricks are terrifying. They hide in tiny cracks and crevices during the day, and then come out to feed on you at night. You don't notice until it's too late. You'll start waking up with itchy bites, see little red sprinkles in the seams of your mattress, and eventually see them. One single pregnant female on a throw pillow is all it takes. The male stabs the female in the abdomen, literally, one time, and she's pregnant for life and off to make your life miserable. Then you have to pay $2,500 or more for a company to treat them. And if they miss one pregnant female, My friend's parents have bed bugs right now. They've cleaned everything about 6 times now. It keeps switching between the bed and couch, so they're finally dumping the couch and going for another clean on the bed. They have to need a company to come out and treat them. Throwing the furniture out won't solve the problem. They hide in electrical outlets, the crevice where the carpet meets the baseboard, the drapes, crevices in the blinds, any crack. We had a bed bug infestation, and I hope to never get one again. My wife and I lucked out. If you can really luck out in anything related to bed bugs, I found out we had them right at the time our lease was running out, and we were planning on moving away. Ditched the bed frame and mattress and a bunch of other stuff, and just moved 4 cities away. Luckily, the bugs didn't follow. My best friend takes in hobos all the time. I couldn't do it, but I'm glad people like him exist. He's literally turned lives around with it, and the last guy has his own place he rents now, and he's doing really well. Anyway, when he first moved in, he was in bad shape. I met him when I noticed shoes sticking out of the bushes in the front of the place. Found a dude there, knocked out cold, cuddling a half-empty bottle of vodka. He found a bed bug in the living room and called the exterminator. When they finished heating the place up, all around the recliner where he slept were dead bugs. He had only been there a month, and it got that bad where he was sleeping. He sat his bag behind the recliner and kept his clothes in a plastic drawer behind the recliner. That's probably why it was so bad, because he was infested. His son is my daughter's best friend, and I didn't want to keep them apart, but I didn't want bedbugs either. I knew it was a risk, but we had a whole regimen before he came over. Clean clothes in the dryer for 30 minutes on high, fresh shower, dress at the back door without your clothes touching the floor, and come over. Take shoes and socks off outside, put on a pair of new socks I had purchased for him as he came in the door. We didn't get them, but I spent the whole time freaking out because that stuff is literally my biggest fear. Story 2. A helmet. They can take only one good hit. Anything that has to do with safety. Had a friend get bumped at a gas station. It was a nothing hit, cosmetic damage to the front bumper. He got a videotape of the incident, called his insurance company, and made a claim. To his surprise, they told him to replace the 2 car seats he had in the vehicle. He chuckled a bit and said, "It was a small bonk, they'll be fine." The adjuster said, completely deadpan, "At some point, a hit will damage a car seat enough to make it ineffective in a crash. I never want my assessment to be wrong." I've had 2 insurance claims since my son was born. A not-at-fault accident, was rear-ended, kiddo, not car, thankfully, and when my car was stolen. In both cases, replacing the car seat was the only thing my insurance didn't try to nickel and dime or mess around with it. As a former adjuster, I'm laughing a little. Absolutely, we insisted on replacing the seats, even when the client didn't think it was necessary. Your child is ready to graduate to the next size seat? Okay, we'll pay for that. Does my insurance company just suck? I got rear-ended at a stop sign with my kids in the car. The insurance company knew the kids were in the car. They never said one word about the car seats. Edit. It was State Farm. I have no problem naming and shaming. They later screwed me on a homeowner's claim when a tree hit my roof. This was several years ago now, so I doubt I could go back and ask for new car seats at this point. My recollection was that when reporting the claim, they asked who was in the car, but they did not ask about car seats specifically. I did not know how to bring it up. We are in the US, but not California. Story 3. Can confirm. Bedbugs gave me something adjacent to PTSD. It's been several years, and I still feel compelled to check the edges of the mattress with a flashlight occasionally, and God forbid I see a piece of lint moving in the fan's breeze. We treated them ourselves as much as we could. The infestation was coming from another apartment. We ended up having to spray a likely unhealthy amount of bedbug spray, moved the bed away from the wall, bagged the mattress, made super sure that none of the blankets ever touched the ground, and poured basically an entire bag of diatomaceous earth around the perimeter of the bedroom and around the bed. Still wasn't 100% effective. We broke our lease and moved. A year and a half later, I found a dead bedbug wedged in a crack in some furniture. The furniture had been spray-treated and then left in a hot storage unit for several weeks, and the bug really was dead, but that still caused a few days of paranoia. I absolutely have PTSD from it. It's been over a year, but any small bug I see, I freak out. Just regular dirt and stuff that gets on your bed or your clothes, I freak out. If there's anyone out there struggling with it right now and can't afford a heat treatment, that's the only thing that's truly effective. Throw away as much as you possibly can. Just get rid of it. And then get a steamer from Amazon or somewhere and steam the bed every single night. Couch too. We finally got rid of them, but it took us a year. DE did nothing. Bug bombs did nothing. Vinegar did nothing. No do-it-yourself remedy works. Heat is the only thing that kills these frickers. And it'll drive you absolutely crazy. I would not wish this on a single soul. They destroyed my already fragile mental health. Story 4. I rolled the dice when I was younger and bought 2 from a really nice couple that swore they had never been used. 10 years later, it is still the most comfortable mattress I've ever used and saved me around $1,000. If they had bed bugs, I can't imagine what they would have cost. Not a gamble I'd do again. If bed bugs didn't exist, I'd totally do it again. I don't care if someone jizzed all over it. I've slept on many a couch I know has been used that way. Honestly, we got a queen bed for $10 from an estate auction with a mattress, ended up keeping the mattress because it was in fine shape, and we needed one for the guest bedroom. Gave it and the frame a visual inspection, slapped a $40 bedbug encasement mattress protector on it for peace of mind, and haven't worried about it since. Yeah, it was a gamble. Yeah, we had experienced bedbugs in a previous apartment and know that hell, but it was from a nice house, and I trust the bedbug mattress protectors. I'm not made of money over here. However, I would never take any upholstered or fabric item from either the side of the road or a random yard sale. If you check the mattress and get a bedbug case onto it before it enters your house, that's pretty safe in my opinion. I would probably be worried about the frame still, but I did not enjoy my last bedbug experience. Going on 10 years ago, and I'm still paranoid about the little bustards. Story 5. Adult toys would never, as who knows what sort of crap's on there. I was in the military over a decade ago. Me and another sergeant were inspecting our soldiers' rooms, but he was a bit of an oddball with some strange quirks. Wasn't a very formal deal, just sort of walking through, doing a cursory check. Towards the end, sort of shooting the crap with the soldiers as we check, it was obvious the guy had a clean trash bag covering up stuff in the bottom of his trash can. Lift the bag, and don't you know, it's a full-sized fake rubber butt. The other sergeant with me comes over and lifts it up and is like, "Whoa, check this out. Look, it's got a wussy hole and everything." The soldier says he's throwing it out because he's used it a few times without cleaning it. And I respond with, "Beautiful," while rolling my eyes. However, the other officer is fascinated with this thing. He's now fully inspecting it on the countertop, looking it over like he's a quality control inspector. "You were throwing it out because it hasn't been cleaned the last couple times?" the sergeant asks. The soldier says, "Yes," while we're kind of looking at each other like, what the frick is going on here? The sergeant spends a couple more seconds looking at it, smacks the fake butt, then throws it under his arm and begins to walk out. "I'll throw it out for you. No worries, man." And he walks right out the door. I remember just standing there in shock. Like, did he really just do that? Then all of us burst out laughing, and I said, "I told you, man, that's one strange mofro dude." Craziest part was when the story got around the unit, the other sergeant would openly brag like he got some hidden treasure, and we were the suckers that missed out. One of the grossest but funniest things I've ever seen. When I was in the Navy, a fellow shipmate's pocket wussy was stolen. We never determined who took it. But the fact that you witnessed someone taking a dirty toy is a new level of raunch. Bravo. Story 6. Couches. I know people buy them secondhand often, but I find it's easy to conceal prior spills on certain couches. Most couches are disgusting after a few years of use. One time, my roommate had a party and someone literally crashed on my couch. I had no hope of cleaning it, despite one weak attempt. I was a poor student, so I just pitched it to the curb, as unattractively as possible. Wouldn't you know it, someone dumpster dived and hauled it away. Still grosses me out almost 20 years later. I had a spare mattress that a friend vomited on, could not get the smell out after several cleans. Finally, I decided to chuck it out and wrote that it was vomited and stained on in big letters, and someone still took it. The best part was that it turned up back at the dumpster like a month later. I guess they couldn't get the smell out either. Story 7. Hybrids or electric vehicles. The used nature of the batteries isn't worth the cheap cost of the car, if it is. Get those new and use it. Run it till it falls apart. The market for the batteries is going to be the cost of a new car anyway, so might as well make that last car last as long as possible. It's why I haven't set foot into the market of Tesla, hybrids, or any EV as of yet. You can get independent battery tests, plus any regular checkups that are good to know when buying a car, for pretty cheap. Slowly getting common in Germany, if you're worried about the battery, costs less than $100. Some cars show their battery health directly, but that's still imprecise. For a Tesla, the battery would be my last worry. They have a few little mechanical things that are way more likely to fail, especially with the suspension. 5 kilometers less range is perhaps a bit annoying, but it isn't dangerous or expensive. Those things, on the other hand, are. Tesla uses US tolerances, which are not as strict as German ones. Therefore, a shocking amount of relatively new Teslas fail inspections. Not to say they're bad cars, they have their advantages, but they got a bit too cheaply made in the last 4 years. Story 8. I've bought or taken for free nearly all the top picks secondhand and no problems yet in over 20 years. Could never afford any of them for full price, so I take the extra precautions that are cheap. Smear diatomaceous earth on all my furniture and vacuum it off after a week or so. Disinfect everything to an extreme, maybe $10 per piece. Let washing machine and dryer sit out in freezing cold or crazy heat under a tarp and bleach, vinegar, other disinfectants, plus dust and vacuum the heck out of them. Can't imagine how much waste y'all are generating. Literally almost all the furniture I've ever had was free off Craigslist or Facebook, etc., and I've never had bed bugs or found anything gross thus far. Again, after being outside under a tarp soaked in gentle cleaning chemicals and insecticides before they ever enter my home. Having spent right around $100 or so cleaning them would have likely been $20,000 or more over the years to buy new, which is a few years of pay at my income level. Hate or downvote me, but I got some really decent stuff for free and will continue to do so. Story 9. A spinning hard disk drive. Without forensically inspecting it, which I have neither the time or money for, there's no feasible way to know what was on it before. A non-spinning is worse if you're concerned about previous contents. A spinning disk easily allows you to write to specific sectors, while a solid-state drive will prefer to write on the least used sectors unless you use special tools for it. They do this to avoid the same area being written far more than others and degrading faster. So if you try to write 500 gigabytes of wipe zeros to overwrite the entire 500 gig drive, you might end up writing all those zeros on half the drive, just twice, and leaving behind the other half since it's being marked as deleted when done. You can write all sectors, it just takes more effort and knowing you need to be mindful. A standard wipe program will work on a spinning disk. Worst case, just fill the entire drive with actual stuff and delete it again. I believe it's the NSA that says their removal policy on a spinning drive is something like a 3-pass overwrite for secure deletion. They said a single is good enough for modern drives, but 3 is recommended. They said solid-state secure deletion requires grinding the drive into a fine powder. Story 10. Keyboard. I've disassembled quite a few for cleaning, and they're disgusting. If I have the chance, I'd rather use my own or buy a new one. Detest the thought of using someone else's. Seconding this, I ran a build and repair service for high-end keyboards for a while. Quit in part because of the stuff people sent me. I have horror stories, with pictures to back them up. Clean your keyboards, folks, and try not to eat or participate in other activities at your desk. Once a week, I clean mine with a paintbrush for getting in between the keys, and then alcohol on a rag that is also cleaned after use, and sometimes I use some multi-purpose cleaner on that rag too. Story 11. My local Goodwill sold bathing suits. Used bathing suits. Used lingerie too, just the tops. Once, my big sister was going to buy both, but assumed they were new, but given to Goodwill because the person who bought it ended up not liking it or something. She even asked the lady at the desk about it. When we got to the car, she found out both were stained, especially the lingerie. You can assume what. I could never buy either of those used, especially after that. My wife sees lingerie posted for sale in our local Facebook market. There's no confusing them for new. They are open about them being used. Why you'd want to advertise what you're wearing for costumes and who would buy them, I have no idea. Story 12. I have a weird story relating to this. My mom had a job. Job description isn't relevant, but it did deal with fairly wealthy people on a daily basis. She was the only person there who did what she did, and she did an amazing job at it. The dynamics were great, and her little department, her and 2 other women, got along wonderfully. Anyways, something happened and a new guy replaced the woman at the top. This dude was whack. He would find the weirdest ways to insert into the conversation that his mother used to buy him used underwear exclusively. He would always use it to somehow support his rags to riches life he seemed to think he had. Not downplaying people's struggles, but based on other things, used underwear was not a necessity. Besides, that is one thing that I'm fairly certain of. Any organization related to helping people would be more than willing to get new ones for people. Anyway, she eventually had it with the guy and literally walked right out the door. She then remembered that my dad had dropped her off to get her tires changed. She wanted to prove a point and just started walking down the street and called when she was out of sight. Story 13. Pacifiers. When I was pregnant, my mother-in-law gave me a plastic baggie of used pacifiers. She had bought them at a garage sale and told me they'd be fine to use if I just boiled them first. No. Hard pass. They went straight in the trash when I got home. I just found out they have a lifespan too. Apparently you should replace them after a few months. Check with the manufacturer, because the tips will eventually break off. I was babysitting and a toddler came over to me with a broken pacifier. He looked funny, so I swept his mouth and found the last 1 centimeter of silicone in there. He'd just worn it down, gnawing on it over time. On one hand, I think boiling them would make them safe, but on the other hand, why bother? Pacifiers aren't exactly expensive. Story 14. My mom worked for the children's division and told me a story about 2 boys, 16-ish years old, who went on a double date. They ended up both sleeping with each other with their respective girlfriends in the car. Only one of them brought condoms. Wanting to be safe, the one friend in the back asked to use the condom after his friend was done with it and turned it inside out. As you can imagine, the backseat girlfriend got pregnant with the front seat friend. My mom always told us this story as a teachable moment, like I planned on using a buddy's used condom. He freaking flipped it? I mean, reusing condoms is stupid already, but why would you turn it inside out? Because then your dong would be touching where his dong was, and that would be gay. Story 15. I'd say a coffin, but actually coffins are expensive. Besides, you're dead. What does it matter if your coffin is secondhand? My answer has to be a mattress, despite them also being expensive, because you can get all types of diseases and stuff. It's incredibly dangerous. If you do buy one secondhand, I'd suggest getting it from somewhere trusted, and I suggest deep cleaning the mattress after you get it, because it can be really unsafe. I'm not sure how a coffin could become available secondhand. If no one's been buried in it, I wouldn't consider it secondhand. Are you imagining a body was viewed in the coffin but not buried in it? Story 16. It bothers me the amount of half-used products I see in thrift stores. Half-empty bottles of shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant. Who is donating a bottle of lotion that's 2/3 of the way empty? Why is the thrift store not throwing it out? And even worse than those 2 points, why are they charging almost a new bottle price for it? I could understand if someone down on their luck purchased it for like 25, 50 cents, but $4.99 for a used bottle of product? Story 17. Mattress. This one for me. I could never. Yet a hotel mattress has probably seen more people, intimate acts, and body fluids than any secondhand mattress. But they hopefully change the sheets and or comforter, and I also shower in the morning after sleeping in one. Story 18. Oh, you guys wouldn't buy used single-use disposable products? Wow. I wouldn't buy a used diaper. That would be so gross. You win the internet today, good sir. I'm so disappointed in this thread. Came in here for some unexpected commentary. Nope. Just, I'd never buy a used toothbrush. Story 19. Prosthetics. No secondhands for me. I don't mind a secondhand. I can generally have a new socket made. Since insurance won't cover a CPU-controlled prosthetic, my only hope is stumbling across a used bionic or similar hand. Story 20. Breast pumps. Unless it's a closed system. When mine were small, most were not closed systems, which allows aerosolized breast milk particles to get places you can't clean. The FDA does not recommend it. Story 21. Bed bugs. End argument. Yup, back in the day, I lost all my furniture to bed bugs because we found this sweet couch for free at the end of a driveway. Never again. Story 22. Motorcycle helmet. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.